Welcome to POSH Deep Dive, a series that goes beneath the surface of India's prevention of sexual harassment law. In every episode, we explore the real meaning behind the act. Come, let's listen to one story, one deep dive at a time.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. If you're managing people, especially, in today's complex world, getting compliance right isn't just about rules. It's really about protecting everyone. Today, we're diving deep into a key piece of workplace law, specifically looking at how we handle sexual harassment issues. We're drawing heavily from India's POSH Act today. That's the Sexual Harassment of Women at Workplace Act from 2013. It sets a really clear baseline for employers.
That's absolutely right. And it's serious stuff. Under POSH, if you employ 10 or more people, you have to set up an internal committee, the IC. This IC isn't just advisory. It handles, everything from prevention and awareness right through to complaints and recommending action.
And the power this committee holds is significant, isn't it? It's not just an HR side project. Its findings can lead to real consequences.
Oh, definitely. Disciplinary action, termination, even suggesting financial compensation. It's got teeth.
Okay. And the law is specific about who sits on this committee.
Very specific. It needs at least 4 members. And crucially, one of those must be an external member. That's mandated.
Right. Okay. Let's unpack that because we're talking about really sensitive internal stuff, workplace dynamics, investigations. Why mandate bringing in an outsider? It sort of feels counterintuitive, inviting someone not on the payroll to be, a core part of your internal justice process.
Well, that outsider is precisely why the system is designed this way. Their role is absolutely key to making sure the IC works properly and fairly. Think of them as a structural safeguard.
And there's legal backing for this thinking, right? Our sources point to court rulings.
Yes, specifically a key ruling from India's Supreme Court in February 2020. The court was very clear on the why. The judgment stressed the need for an independent person, someone who can, and I quote, aid, advise, and assist the committee. It's not just for show.
So what's the big risk the law is trying to head off here, if it was all internal people?
The core aim is to obviate an institutional bias. That's the phrase used. Without that independent view, there's always a risk, conscious or not, that the committee might lean towards protecting the organization, maybe minimizing exposure, or avoiding upsetting senior people.
Ah, I see. So the external person acts as a check on that potential internal pressure.
Exactly. They bring impartiality.
And this directly impacts you, the listener, because a safe workplace depends entirely on whether people trust the system. Will someone actually come forward, especially if it involves someone senior, if they don't have confidence? They need to repose enough faith, as the sources put it. Trust hinges on transparency.
Absolutely. And that trust makes the whole policy work. If potential harassers know the system is genuinely independent and that there are real consequences, effective deterrents, then prevention actually happens. If it looks like a rubber stamp, the whole thing loses credibility.
Okay, so this external member is vital. What kind of person are we talking about? It can't just be anyone off the street, surely.
No, definitely not. The Act is clear on their profile. They should generally come from an NGO or an association focused on women's issues, or alternatively be someone who is really knowledgeable, truly cognizant with sexual harassment issues and the related rules.
Cognizant. Let's dig into that. What specific expertise might they have that, say, an internal HR or legal person might lack?
Well, it often goes beyond just knowing the law. We're talking about practical expertise, maybe a trauma-informed approach to handling complaints and investigations, understanding how people disclose trauma, how to conduct interviews sensitively, things internal teams, often focused on business ops, might not be trained for. The external expert ensures that procedural fairness is also, human.
That makes a huge difference. It turns the IC from just a compliance box ticker into something genuinely capable. And our sources outline 3 key advantages, sort of 3 pillars that the right external member brings. These build that crucial confidence.
Yes, let's look at those pillars. They really show why this role is so operationally necessary.
Okay, pillar 1, objectivity and an unbiased approach. Seems obvious, but what are the deeper layers here?
Well, maintaining objectivity inside any organization is tough. The external member doesn't have the baggage of preconceived notions or existing relationships. Think about it. An internal member might have to investigate a senior colleague, maybe even their own boss or someone they work closely with. That's incredibly difficult.
Yeah, you'd worry about office politics, your own career, future projects. It instantly clouds things, doesn't it?
Precisely. That's why the sources emphasize finding an expert who is well-trained in schooling their emotions. They need professional detachment. Their judgment should rest solely on the facts and the law, not internal dynamics or loyalties. This is crucial, especially when things get heated.
But let me push back slightly. If the organization pays this external expert, doesn't that create a potential conflict, a financial incentive to maybe lean the company's way?
That's a fair question. The safeguard here is really in the required profile, the NGO link, or specialized expertise. The expectation is their professional integrity, their commitment to fairness or women's causes is paramount. The reputation depends on their independence. If they consistently seem biased towards the company paying them, they lose all credibility in their field. So their professional standing is actually tied to staying neutral.
Okay, that makes sense. The risk shifts to their professional reputation, not just the company's immediate issue. Let's move to the second pillar, broader perspective and expertise.
Right. So internal members are great because they know the company culture, the hierarchy, how things really work.
Okay.
But their main job usually isn't investigating harassment claims. They have other work priorities, as the sources say. These investigations take a lot of time, energy, and focus.
So internal folks are often juggling the sensitive investigation with their day job, their targets, everything else.
Exactly. Yeah. The external member, though, this is their focus. They're a specialist. And they bring a much wider perspective from handling cases across different companies, industries, maybe even different legal nuances.
Can you give an example of that broader expertise in action?
Sure. Think about procedural rigor. Internal members might sometimes get a bit lax on, say, documentation or sticking to strict timelines. The Act specifies things like 90 days for completion. An external expert who knows how easily cases can fall apart due to procedural errors will insist on meticulous records, proper interview sequences, and hitting every deadline. They enforce the kind of rigor needed for the findings to stand up legally.
They ensure the process isn't just compliant on paper, but genuinely robust.
Precisely. Good process leads to fair outcomes.
Okay, which brings us neatly to the third pillar, gravitas and competence.
Yes, this is about the quality of the investigation itself. The IC needs to handle every complaint with gravitas and without bias. That takes more than just good intentions. It requires real skills, real competencies, the right tools to deal with what our sources call tangled investigations.
What makes an investigation tangled?
Oh, conflicting stories, no direct witnesses, maybe it happened over a long time, or involved subtle power dynamics. These aren't straightforward. They need careful, nuanced investigation techniques that internal teams might not have.
So the external expert brings that investigative competence.
Yes. They ensure the committee is properly trained, understands the legal and ethical lines, and knows how to handle different situations, like when is mediation okay versus when is strong disciplinary action needed. They guide the process to ensure the final report is solid, fact-based, and legally sound. They really lift the standard of the whole investigation.
Okay, so they act as the professional anchor, making sure the investigation is thorough, fair, timely, and leads to clear, actionable recommendations. So, pulling this all together, what's the big takeaway for organizations using the POSH Act? The sources seem incredibly clear on the impact of this external role.
They are. They basically say the external expert is the single most critical factor in boosting employee trust in the entire system. And trust is described as elusive but essential.
So it's not just about compliance, it's about building genuine faith in the process.
That's the core message. Adding this unbiased, skilled member transforms the IC from a potential formality into a genuinely effective and trustworthy body. Their inquiries, their findings, they all carry more weight and integrity.
And ultimately, the real test of any workplace policy like this isn't just the words on the page, is it? It's measured by the trust it builds among the people it's supposed to protect. If that trust isn't there, problems fester, people suffer, and the organization remains at risk.
Which leads to a final thought for you to consider. Given that this external expert is there to guarantee neutrality and timely, rigorous process, how can organizations go beyond just having them there? How might you perhaps measure and transparently report on how quickly and effectively the IC's findings are actually enforced, demonstrating that effective deterrents aren't just recommended, but are consistently put into practice and might be the key to truly cementing the trust this external expert helps to build.